A person places a treat under a blue cup right in front of an 8-week-old puppy. The puppy watches. A screen drops for 3 seconds. The screen lifts. The treat hasn't moved. The puppy looks at the cup, looks at the researcher, and completely forgets what it was doing, wandering off to chew on a chair leg. Same test, same room, but with a 3-year-old adult dog. The screen drops. The screen lifts. The adult dog walks straight to the blue cup, pushes it over, and eats the treat. Now, most people look at that and say, well, obviously the adult dog is smarter. But what if I told you the puppy isn't stupid? What if I told you its brain is intentionally ignoring that treat because of a neurological setting that actually makes puppies better at certain types of learning than adult dogs will ever be again? We're going to come back to that puppy in a second. But first, we need to dismantle a myth that has been repeated in dog training for over a century, because your dog's brain does not learn the way the internet tells you it does. If you've ever heard the phrase, "you can't teach an old dog new tricks," you've been handed a completely false narrative about canine neuroscience. Think about what happens when you try to teach something new to a 4-month-old puppy versus a 4-year-old adult. With the puppy, it feels chaotic. They pick things up in 2 seconds but then forget them 5 minutes later. With the adult dog, it might take 50 repetitions just to get their attention. But once it clicks, it stays forever. That contrast isn't about intelligence or laziness. It comes down to 3 distinct biological hardware differences firing inside their skulls. The first difference is neural plasticity versus neural efficiency. A puppy's brain is literally overflowing with synapses. It has far more neural connections than it actually needs. It's an open sponge, building raw structural pathways at hyperspeed. But an adult dog's brain has undergone a process called synaptic pruning. It has trimmed away the unused pathways to build high-speed, insulated superhighways for the things it uses daily. The puppy learns everything fast but holds on to little. The adult dog learns selectively, but locks it in like steel. The second layer is prefrontal cortex development. In puppies, the area of the brain responsible for impulse control, focus, and emotional regulation is virtually offline. They aren't ignoring you because they're being stubborn. They literally lack the physical neuroarchitecture to filter out background noise. And then there's the chemical environment. A puppy's brain is flooded with higher levels of growth factors that prioritize rapid environmental mapping over long-term risk assessment. They are biologically wired to explore first and evaluate later. An adult dog's neurochemistry prioritizes predictability and energy conservation. So, how does this actually play out in real science? In a landmark study on canine cognitive development, researchers tested how age affects social observation learning. A puppy and an adult dog were placed in a room with a puzzle box. A human demonstrated how to open the box using a specific handle. The adult dogs watched the human, analyzed the mechanical motion, and replicated the exact step to get the reward. They learned through focused observation. But when the puppies were tested, they didn't just imitate the human. They tried everything. They bit the box, rolled on it, barked at it, and accidentally solved it using entirely different methods. The researchers realized that adult dogs use targeted logic based on past experience, while puppies use rapid, trial-and-error exploration. The adult brain asks, "What is the most efficient solution?" The puppy brain asks, "What are all the possibilities here?" Take another study looking at memory retention and impulse control across different age groups. Dogs were trained on a spatial memory task where a reward was hidden behind an obstacle. When tested immediately, puppies and adult dogs performed identically. But when researchers introduced a delay, holding the dogs back for just 30 seconds before letting them search, the puppy's accuracy plummeted by over 60%. The adult dogs, backed by a fully developed prefrontal cortex, maintained near-perfect recall. The study proved that while puppies absorb immediate information instantly, their short-term working memory is fragile because their brain hasn't finished building its storage infrastructure. And this brings us to the ultimate brain shift. How learning style completely flips as a dog matures. A team of neurobiologists studying aging and learning in canines discovered something fascinating about how dogs handle changing rules. They taught both puppies and adult dogs that pressing a red button yielded food. Easy enough. Once both groups mastered it, the researchers flipped the rules. Now, pressing the blue button gave food, and the red button did nothing. The puppies adapted almost immediately. Their hyperplastic brains abandoned the old rule and built a new pathway within minutes. The adult dogs, however, struggled significantly longer. They kept pressing the red button, confused as to why their reliable superhighway had stopped working. The researchers called this cognitive flexibility versus habit persistence. Puppies excel at adapting to chaotic, changing environments because they have no ingrained expectations. Adult dogs struggle to unlearn old habits, but once a new rule is established, they execute it with precision and speed that a puppy couldn't dream of. Which brings us back to that 8-week-old puppy in the lab, staring blankly at the blue cup after just 3 seconds. That puppy didn't fail the test. It did exactly what its brain was engineered to do at 8 weeks old: dismiss static, non-threatening information to keep its sensory channels open for new input. Its brain wasn't built to remember where a treat was hidden under a cup. It was built to absorb the entire world at once. If you are raising a puppy right now and feeling exhausted because they forget a command they knew yesterday, understand that their brain is still laying down the foundation. They don't need rigid repetition. They need broad, varied exposure. And if you are trying to train an adult dog and feeling frustrated because they seem set in their ways, realize that their brain isn't broken or incapable. It just requires more deliberate repetition to overwrite an existing neural superhighway. Your dog's brain never stops shaping itself to match your world. A puppy explores everything to learn who you are, and an adult dog refines everything to focus on what you need. They aren't learning worse or better as they age, they are just answering different questions. I want to know about a time your adult dog surprised you by picking up a brand new trick, or a moment your puppy completely outsmarted you. Drop it in the comments below. Do you think older dogs learn better through watching us or through physical practice? I have my own thoughts, but I want to hear yours first.